Hey there, it's Ashley. Welcome to Createful Art. Today I would love to show you guys how to paint a winter landscape scene inspired by the state of Alaska. I am traveling and painting all over the US, and this month the theme is Alaska. And I lived in Alaska for 7 years, and it's where we started our journey. And so I'm kind of going back a little bit and painting some of those scenes that I've really wanted to paint for a long time. If you love to paint and you want to learn more about art, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it, and you will be notified when I make new videos. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be using the same palette that I've been using for this month. You can get all these colors in the description below and how I mix them. I'm going to go ahead and grab my light blue and my palette knife. I'm going to use that today because I want to get some texture on here. Okay, see the texture that it creates? And this painting is mostly blue. So we're going to fill in a good portion of this sky with blue. So I'm going to take this blue all the way across right over here, and I'm going to leave that texture because that's the way that I want this painting to look. I always encourage you guys to be creative on this channel. You don't need to copy everything that I do. Now I'm going to put the blue down here. Now this blue is the snow, okay? And you might think, oh, the snow isn't white. It's not. Not when there's a sunset out. It's actually a very cool blue color. And once we get the other shapes and the colors in here, it'll look more like this is snow. One thing I forgot to do, because it's not in my reference photo, is make a little stream through here. Okay, so I'm just going to pull some of that texture off where I wanted the stream because I forgot that it was something I was going to do. And why do I have black on here? Who knows? Go over that. So now I'm going to take my dark blue and I'm going to grab my flat brush here. And I'm going to decide where I want my horizon line. And I'm going to put it right here. Okay, and I'm going to bring this line across. And you want to make sure that it's straight. Now I'm going to create a transition right here in my sunset. And I'm going to use that buttery yellow that is part of our palette. And I'm just going to come right under here and transition it in. For now I'm not going to really mix a lot. I'm going to let it sit on top. And I'm going to take this buttery yellow all the way across. Now to make a nice transition between the two, I'm just grabbing my white. And just remember that this is a different style. And I'm going to go right in between and I'm just lining up that blue. You can also take your palette knife to do this. I'm just doing it with my brush because I want a little more control. This is going to lighten that blue and provide a transition between the yellow and the blue. Okay, and then come up through here. You'll get that white in there. Okay, so it creates that soft transition, but it's really chunky, so it's not really soft. It's just a different look. And I'm going to pull that yellow down just a little bit more here. And I can because there's a lot of color up here. Okay. And then I'm going to pull in my pink. And pull that in a crisscross motion. You can also use your palette knife for this. And then I just kind of dissipate it up there at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that all the way to the bottom here, but I'm going to grab some blue too to give some transition, which is going to be a purple color. Okay, and it cools it down here, and it reaches that. And notice how it starts softening up now down here because I'm not putting in any texture. So I'm just going to carry that across. So I'm going to add a little more detail into my sunset here. Just add some purple. So based on your personal style, you can soften this as much as you want. The more you go over it, the more it's going to be softened. And that's entirely up to you. I really like the look If it's something that you like too, let me know in the comments. It's less on the realistic side and more on the playful side. So through here there's a whole bunch of mountain ranges, and there's pink and there's blue and there's purple, but it doesn't really matter to be so specific about it. So I'm just gonna come in here and just grab this and take it, maybe like make a valley right here, go up right here, valley down in here. Okay, and then I have to add that purple color to get that dark of the valley here. So now I'm just adding that pink in. Okay. And then I'm going to take that buttery yellow, and this is where this little river comes in here. And the light's bouncing off it. So I'm going to start with my lightest color and just put that in here. And I'm going to work my brush from side to side like this. And remember I'm putting texture in there, so it doesn't really matter to smooth things out. All throughout here I'm going to add my blue, and then I'm going to go over the top of it. So go ahead and add your blue in there. And I'm using my palette knife to put in the blue. And because you have less control, you just kind of have to go with the flow. And this is just a fun way to paint. Okay, so while this is wet, I'm going to just take my black and I'm going to create the edge of where the trees start. And it doesn't have to be detailed at all. It's just going to help me to know where this is at and start that shading. And the line curves down here, comes up against this river. Okay, and I'm just going to pull some of this up. Okay, and then I have this tree over here, so I'm going to start that. We're going to go ahead and blow dry this so that all the colors and stuff we put on top are going to stay on the top and not mix with our colors underneath. While this continues to dry, I'm going to go ahead and add some of these shapes back here with a light bright pink. These are just the tops of the mountains back here. I'm just going to come up, and this is where the light of the sunset is shining off the mountains. So I'm just making some shapes coming up and then squaring that off. And of course there's a lot of shine going on out here. Okay, and then you start seeing the rolling mountains. And then I'm gonna cool this down right through here. This is actually shaded. And the more like shades of color you put back here, the busier it'll get and the more it'll look like there's things going on. You can just decide how much you want to do. I'm going to start adding this light transition right here. It's just going to go over the top and just a little bit through here. This is just going to give this painting a little bit more dimension. Right, and now I'm going to take some pink and I'm just going to stick it in some parts of this water here. Now the streams are the only things that really don't freeze in Alaska in the winter. They still have a lot of ice chunks on them for sure. So I'm just going to pull down to make sure I have enough color on my brush here. And a brighter pink by adding some yellow to my pink. And then I'm going to add some light color here to just transition that. Now I'm going to pull in the trees. I'm going to start with my black, and then I'm going to go over the top with my lighter colors. And I'm grabbing my round brush here, and I'm going to go up into this area right here with a big tree. Okay, and the trees in Alaska are kind of funny. They do some weird things. But you don't have to paint it like that. You can paint your pine trees similar to what you have around. Okay, so kind of do this reaching out thing, and then I just start getting bigger at the bottom. And I like to use a blobbing motion. It keeps me inconsistent, which helps me to make my trees more realistic. And then I take it down to where I started to make this black area. Go over that, and then I'm going to come down to about right here with this tree. Okay, and I just go over this area like that. Okay, and then I can leave some of that blue in there. That helps it to look a little more realistic when I go over the top. Okay, and then right through here you're going to have some gray. And this is those trees that are back in the background here. And I'm just kind of blobbing. I'm not getting really specific with it because it's just trees off in the distance. And I'm going to pull it in to this right through here. There's not a lot of contrast between the background and these trees right here. And I might decide at the end to add a little bit more, depending on what I want to do. But for right now, I'm just going to get these trees down. I'm using the black that's in this background to be my black for these trees for now. And then I can come back and texturize that black a little bit more. Okay, and then I bring it over here on this side. And I'm going to go up above this line right here. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing that I've done here and do it over here. And then I'm going to make this big tree right here. Okay, and this tree is going to be taller than this. So remember, it has to get fatter as it goes down, and it's going to be like right up against this bank here. And I just kind of follow this line because you know you're going to have a trunk in here. And then I pull out. And I'm using quite a bit of paint on my brush because this is a textured painting. I'm just going to move this into that, and there's of course trees all throughout here. So I'm going to transition that a little bit with some gray. And I'm going to put another little tree right here. Just a little one. Gonna be a little funny shaped tiny tree. And then you want to let this dry. While your trees are drying, you can give your bank, your river bank, a little bit more dimension with your darker blue. And come here on the edges, just add some of that darker blue to the edge, and it'll look like there's some shadowing going on. It kind of goes down. So I'm going to add in some dark purple along the banks just to add some more dimension. Okay, and then I can take some of that, add it to the bottom of these trees. And then wherever I want to have some gaps, I can just add my blue back in. And you see how this is a line right here? And it just draws your eye right to it. I'm going to go ahead and break that up. Another thing I can do to break this up, since it's such an interesting shape, is I can just take my tree, go up just a little bit further, and that breaks it up. Okay, then I take my red, and this just adds harmony to my painting. I'm taking my just straight red, and I'm going to add that into some of the sides of this tree here. Not a lot, just a little as well on the outsides here, because it'll be hitting all around. The light hits these trees, and even though they're silhouetted, they'll still have some pretty colors on them in real life. Now if I were to look at the reference photo, you don't see this because the camera can't catch this. So then it just kind of disappears down here because this is shaded area. And then it just starts coming to life. Now it's time to add a little bit of that lighter blue on top of your trees. Okay, and this is going to make it appear like snow. You just have to make sure that it is dry below it, okay? Most of that snow is going to hit right through here, right on the top of these branches, okay? So I'm just adding it in a blobbing motion right on the top outside, okay? And see how that just brings it to life and makes it look more realistic? Pretty fun. Okay, and you don't have to do a whole lot, and you probably should skip some of the areas. So skipping the center, going up and down sideways with your brush. All this is going to help you make it look more realistic. Some places there's going to be more. Some branches are going to have less. Oh, isn't it just so pretty? Okay, and then you do that same thing over here. And this is not pure white, this is that light blue. So make sure you don't do pure white on there. Now to just add a little more dimension, I'm going to take my light blue here and make a little bit of a heel there. And since I already have some of this texture in here, it's going to pull on that texture. Okay, not a lot, just a little. Okay, and then now's the time to look back at your painting and see if there's anything you want to change. So I'm just going to pull some of those shadows right here underneath. That's one of those things that I want to change. And then all you have to do is sign your work and then you're done. Good job. Thank you guys so much for painting with me. If you guys learned a lot from this art lesson, I really appreciate when you guys give me a thumbs up and share them with your friends. It helps these videos reach a lot more people. If you guys want to get weekly art lessons, go ahead and click right here and you guys can be on your way to become a better artist. Also, there are more acrylic art lessons that you can choose from right over here and right over here. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!